joining. This is Chris Ehmke, and you're listening to the Diesel Performance Podcast. Guys, today we have an exciting show. There's been a lot of hype and a lot of conversation around some of the new Ford Powerstroke, the platform itself, tuning, new things on the horizon. And, we thought, we could bring in Tim Mahoney. Tim, how you doing, man?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on.
I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule.
Happy to be here.
So busy besides just yelling profanity in the shop.
Not the shop, mainly upstairs.
Upstairs, yeah. At the shop, you keep P's and Q's, right?
Yeah. Stay in my lane.
Yeah. So we were chatting a little off air, and we were talking about, some of the new stuff, again, on the horizon with the Ford. Kind of backed into a video you did with producer Justin a few weeks ago, talking specifically like probably 22 plus, but I'm just going to group in all 20 to 25 Ford as the platform. As the platform.
Yeah. So I guess the video that you're referencing was Justin, J-Bone, and I were shooting a video on my 23 Ford, and we were testing the Worley Custom Fab intake, as well as, now we can talk about it, the Edge inline tuner.
Okay.
Right. So the Edge inline tuner just dropped to market this week also, so kind of coincidental that all this is timing out, but so that's what J-Bone and I were filming and talking about, and we kind of, I'd say, ruffled some feathers and got some things moving, knowing that there's more to come here, which was kind of funny to read the comments, and it's.
So for the listeners who aren't really familiar with the Ford platform, I guess the Ford platform for 20 plus, it kind of has some layers to it, but what makes the 20 plus Ford platform unique or different compared to some of the other trucks?
Yeah, so I guess security and encryption in the ECM. We got into the 2021 Fords right away. I think we tuned the 20 Ford the day after I bought it, but we were using dim sport. We were flashing it at the ECM.
Which is a little unconventional compared to other platforms.
Oh yeah, a little unconventional. At that time, there wasn't a lot of handheld tuners out there that did stuff like that, right? So we're used to EFI Live, EasyLink, stuff like that. Kind of along came the GDP Commander, our black box, right? So 20 and 21 Fords, basically you had to flash at the ECM, but you had total control. You could do TCM tuning as well. Then came 22 Fords. 22 Fords, separate encryption in the ECM. Basically, all you could flash into them was a Ford signed file, similar to Raptor R, GT500.
What does that mean? What's a Ford signed file?
Think of it as you're going to your house, and you can't get in your house unless you have the right key, right?
Okay.
And there's only one key. So unless you have that key, or unless let's say you make some modifications to your house and the key doesn't change with the lock, you're not going to get into it.
Okay,
right?
So that's specific to 22.
That's specific to 22.
But the ECM is the same as the 2021s.
Ironically, the ECM is the same and or very similar to what we do with the Cummins now, where basically what we were doing is we were taking a 2021 ECM. It didn't have that encryption key in there that it would therefore check. And we were able to put those in, which it was a process at first. I think the first one I definitely wanted to, it was my truck, of course.
It was difficult back then. I mean,
it was.
That was before the GDP Commander, too. So you'd have to have like a Ford tool to learn the ECM. You had to know someone at Ford. I mean, it was a challenge.
It was definitely a challenge. I don't want to say we were the first to do it, but we were probably one of the first 10 guys. At that point, it was early in a relationship with a couple engineers, and then the guys at Diesler as well. Neil actually kind of pointed us in the right direction with one of the engineers of the Commander, and 6 months later, right, we were able to all of a sudden do these swaps remotely and get this product pushed to end customers. Then support stopped there, right? So 23, you have a new introduction. I bought a 23. You're all excited. They got a standard output. They got a high output, right? New body style, I wasn't crazy about. New big screen, that's always cool. But there was all this talk of a standard output, high output. I feel like everybody in 23 ordered a high output. It was the coolest thing that was coming, right? Had to do it. And, I've had that truck over 2.5 years now. And
it's crazy.
Basically, we couldn't do anything to it.
Yeah, it's been stocked the entire time.
The high output, I don't want to say it was a bust, but I think mine made like 14 extra horsepower. For $3,000, you got 14 horsepower and you used more def.
Yeah.
There is a coolant line that runs through the front of the compressor.
And you have the cool red badges.
I do have the red badges. Now those could be worth something.
They could.
So, basically the last, better part of the last 2 years, the truck actually sat at my parents' house, and they were using it to pull trailers around, and, like, it was just no use to us here. Like, we drove it for a year, we took it to shows, but otherwise, like, we had no use for it. I don't know, 3, 4, 5 months ago, maybe, the guys at Edge reached out to us about their inline tuner, said, hey, yeah, we'd be happy to test. It's the only thing going on.
Now let's talk about that. So for the guys, the gals that are listening, I take this as I take it for granted, right? We talk about tuning, and we talk about modules, we talk about box tuners. There's a lot of different references that we use internally, right? So everything that we do at Calibrated Power is we want to have access to the ECM and to the TCM and make the edits we want to make to have the controller tell the engine and trans what to do.
Real custom tuning.
Custom tuning, right? Now the Edge Easy, right? This module, we're calling it.
Yep.
It is tuning in a sense because it is enhancing power output, but it's not a tuner, as in it's not communicating with the factory ECU. It's not reflashing it.
It's sensor manipulation. And I guess I missed a step in there. About a year and a half ago, basically guys started deleting these trucks. And they were doing that by flashing an OEM factory signed file, better known as an export file. So about a year ago, guys were saying, oh, we're doing tuning. They're not actually doing tuning. We addressed that in the other video.
What's crazy to me, and I think this is a good way to segue in that video, is you'll go on the 20-plus Powerstroke pages or the 22-plus Powerstroke pages, and you'll see guys going at it with one another saying that their flash is a real tune file.
Oh, yeah, dude. They're tuning.
And they're making power. They're making 20, 30 extra horsepower.
Yep.
And then you get the next guy saying, no, that's not the case. But to all the audience, it's all the same file.
Mesmerizing how these guys, even the install shops with dynos, would not dyno these trucks stock. And then just put it on the dynos. Yeah, the thing makes 500 of the tire. Yeah. 450 to the tire. It made that stock, right? And so what we did, we lined it out. We bought 3 different files, and then there was also a file at the time you could get and just flash with 4scan. So we bought 3 different files from 3 different tuners. And my truck started about 475 horsepower.
To the tire, on our Mustang dyno.
On our Mustang dyno. Okay. My truck would do 99 mile an hour stock with a high output file. Would do 99 mile an hour with a standard output file. Took all 3 of those export files, custom tune files, that none of them removed the speed limiter. In fact, most of them actually put the speed limiter to 94 because they used a 350 file, not a 250 file. And they all lost about 45 or 50 horsepower. Like file A, B, C, tuner A, B, C, all within 3 horsepower of each other. All lost 50 horsepower.
Because it's a standard output file.
It's less than a standard output file. It's an export file.
Okay. So would that be what you would consider internally? We always talk about custom with a K. Right.
That would be custom with the K. Yep. That's the Ukrainian file. That's whatever it is, right? So, needless to say, for the last year, these guys have been tuning their trucks. Yeah. Sure, maybe it fixed their emissions issue at the time, but
it sounded louder, therefore it made power.
Yes.
So it did something.
Tailpipe performance.
It did tailpipe performance.
So that led to this hype with what's next. How can we add power? How can these guys at least get back to something? But for me, I'm like, how can I get to 550 horsepower? How can I do more than 99 mile an hour? Because who doesn't need to go faster than 99 mile an hour?
I mean, most highways these days, you're doing 80, 85. If you want to go past somebody, you need to go over 100.
You're not doing 90 on 90. You're getting past.
You are.
So guys from Edge reached out to us. They sent one of their inline tuners. We got it on with the Whirly intake. All good stuff. I mean, Whirly intake made 15 horsepower straight away. Did that high output, standard output, all of the above. Got the Edge inline tuner in there. Tons of options. I want to say it's 6 different power levels, 6 different throttle pedal settings. I mean, like, you turn that thing up, and you got to be careful if you're going in reverse, because like you'll run into somebody. Like it is impressive for what you get. For me, I have I thought it would be cool to put the 22 wheels back on there because they're black, and the TPMS sensors are different between 22 and 23. So I had a TPMS light on my dash. The Edge was able to fix that.
Okay.
That was cool. No speedometer adjust. For what it is, the $500-ish.
Yeah, $500-$600.
It was great.
It enhances the windshield experience.
100%.
You don't have speed limiter, tire size, TPMS.
No,
it doesn't change that. This is just going to help enhance
Changes
throttle.
TPMS.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
But it does enhance the throttle input. It does enhance the windshield experience, that mid-range driving.
Correct.
Okay.
So that took the truck with the intake. We were, call it 490-ish. We added 15 horsepower with the intake and about 40 rear wheel horsepower with the Edge. I think they claimed 60. My truck made 40. But rear wheel horsepower to the tire.
Yeah, so you're talking 540, 550 to the tire, all said and done.
We're 545. So that's kind of where we left off 2 months ago.
Okay.
And now there's some releases coming.
Yeah.
I've built some files. I haven't been able to flash them in my own truck. I've got some pictures. I've got some feedback response. I know the stuff works. But basically, about a month ago, we got reached out to one of our friends of the industry about this new tuning support that's coming. And I think enough people have talked about it now. We've done enough testing. We've done some EasyLink stuff with 20 and 21s if the ECM was unlocked. There's some gray area there what you can do. They reached out to us. They said, hey, man, we're going to bring 20 to 25 Ford Powerstroke tuning to EasyLink. It's like, okay, you guys going to build a harness? How are we going to flash this? Is it unlocked? Does it have to get sent in? Nope, it's all going to be OBD. Okay, cool. Is it actually going to work? You know, but I got to say, man, the guys at EasyLink are really, really bringing it this year. I mean, you saw that with their just out of left field E41 release, and now they're really, really pushing on the Ford stuff. So I'm getting told, again, I haven't seen it. I haven't tested it. I know the 20 to 22 stuff will be.
That's been a thing. Yep.
It's been a thing. Our files are going to go right in. Yep. Stuff we got EO for, the stuff we just basic 125 real horsepower, all that stuff will get turned on like a switch. I'm being told we're inside of 2 weeks from having support.
Okay. I
don't know if that's 100% public support. Is that beta support? I don't know, but we're getting in front of it as fast as we can. The 20 to 22 stuff, like we just talked about, the day that they come out, we'll be ready to go. Right.
I think the more exciting thing is going to be that no man's land, that 23 to 25, where us at Calibrated, we haven't played around in that world because we don't sell deleted export files and rip people off. At the same time, there hasn't been custom tuning capability or support for flashing. So now, the industry gets to capitalize on another 3 years of a new truck that they haven't been able to support prior.
And it's really 5 if you want to talk that window, right? When you talk about the ease of OBD flashing, you're talking a 5-year window.
You're not wrong. I stand corrected. It's 5 full years.
So you're bringing me flashbacks.
6.
You're bringing me some flashbacks and some feelings of 2018, right? Some L5P release.
Yeah.
That was only a 2-year window, right? You're talking 17, 18. The hype was through the roof.
Yep.
And I just remember going in that just foot to the floor, man. Like, we were tuning them that week. I mean, revision, you name it. That was the entire industry back then. I mean, I remember when Corey was doing his stuff and we were still doing our stuff, it was like, oh, yeah, revision 3.222. Yeah. It's,
then you get the customer asking a question. Why does this say Rev 3.245? It's like, sir, you don't want to know.
Yeah.
You don't want to know.
It's going to get real quick.
Yeah.
I've told you, I've told Nick, I've told the guys at EasyLink, like, give me a heads up. Like, I'm planning on going out of town after the 4th of July, but it sounds like I'm taking my truck with me because it's going to get really, really fun, real quick. No one is testing this stuff. Guys can build files. Sure, you could have built a file 2 years ago, but you can't put it in the truck.
Right.
So what that means is the day that it drops and someone's going to sell you a 23, 24, 25
when you have all these guys online advertising, but they've been tuning them for years.
They've been tuning them
the last year and a half off.
Year and a half, 2 years. They forgot that when they had the Ford engineer sign the file. They forgot to remove the speed limiter.
You mentioned that you're excited, right, for the Ford. That seems to be the platform that you gravitate towards. I mean, that and the Ram. I know you have a soft spot for the Ram. But
when L5P dropped, man, I was GM through and through. But through the last couple of years, I mean, honestly, since 20+, I felt like Ford's been the most complete truck. Yeah. I love the Ram simply because they're the slowest, least powerful truck, and we can do the most
bang
them,
for your buck.
right?
Yeah.
So the Ram, in my eyes, like it's a dually 3500. I had a 24. Now we got a 25. Can't do anything with that yet. But like that's the work truck to me, right? That's we're gonna go to the sled pole. It's gonna get hooked up to the gooseneck. The Ford is kind of like, hey, we're gonna either go to the racetrack, go out to dinner, whatever. So, I'm ready, man.
Now, is there anything that you've seen, or like what's your interpretation? Like you've had the 2021s, you've had, now the 23. Is there anything, I guess the HO makes slightly more power, but is there anything that sticks out at you that it's like, man, if I just had the opportunity to flash or edit, I really want to change this parameter, or I really want to change this operation in what the truck does?
Yeah, I mean, that is a loaded question, right? The biggest thing that I noticed when Ford went to the 10-speed was the ability to tune trans. We're not going to get that straight off the bat, right? If we can, that's going to make a huge difference. Overall, it's just Ford likes to do this odd power on, power off thing with like clutch pack slip, again, trans tuning. But they also like really turn the power off past 25, 26, 2700 RPM. On a cab chassis, like totally off, just so we're on the same page. I mean, we did some testing. We had a truck from guys in an Elevation Off-Grid in Denver. We've done 22 stuff for them, all the way 23 to 25. The cab chassis trucks make 80 horsepower at 2700 RPM. 80 horsepower. So just under 300 horsepower stock by 2,700 RPM. So that pulling grade, passing,
where you're looking, you're shooting to use the truck in that RPM window.
80 horsepower. So what we've been messing around dealing with the last couple of years, working within the constraints that we can work with, trying to get those guys to pick up power level, right? So pick up power level will still be 400 horsepower at 3,000 RPM. So
that's
we
insane.
were literally adding, I have a dyno sheet, but at 2,700 RPM, I want to say we added like 270 horsepower or something absurd. So like that's the stuff that like I'm excited about that we can do for the customer. The stuff that sticks in the back of my head though is these guys are used to the elite world, right? This 0 to 200, 0 to 220 horsepower shift on the fly. We should be able to do shift on the fly with these with the Fords. Yes, it'll be fuel temp, just how the ECM architecture is. But you're going to be tight. It's going to be a tight window. Like even the 20 to 22 stuff, we were like 125, 130 horsepower. That was a 460 horsepower truck, right? The 17 and 19, barely a 400 horsepower truck.
Right.
This is now a 500 horsepower truck with the same size turbo.
Yeah.
That's come on. Actually, a smaller turbo that was on the 19th.
Yeah.
So we're going to be running up against a ceiling pretty quickly.
Think like 90, 100 horsepower at that point.
Yeah, I think 100 horsepower is going to be the limits of these things. So.
What's crazy, though, is I was like, oh, you're only getting 100 horsepower. Well, yeah, you're potentially going to gain 100 on 5, right?
100 on 5.
So it's you think about this, and, it goes back to like some of the L5P days of like, remember when L5P tuning was so expensive? Like it was $4,000 or $5,000 to tune a truck. And people would call in and they'd, tear me a new one. Like, dude, listen, I didn't set the fucking price. It's not in my control.
Yeah, of that $5,000, we have to give $3,500 of it to HB tuners. So what would you like us to do?
But what's crazy about that whole thing is it's like, hey, man, I could still give you a turnkey truck to make, 550, 575 horse. Go price out what it would take in an 01 to 10 truck to make 550 horse.
Yeah.
It's a hell of a lot more than that $4,000 to $5,000. So when you get into these new trucks, and we talk the Ford platform, like I agree with you, it is the most refined. It is the most complete truck. But we're already starting at 500 horse, which is more than any 6-liter, 6.4 liter, early 6.7 liter could have ever produced.
Look at the 600 horsepower LB7s we built around here. It's $20,000.
No, 20,000 when you start from scratch. Yeah. So it's crazy, the technology, and granted the truck weighs a hell of a lot more. The stability is definitely in the owner's favor for towing. I mean, that's what the truck is set up for.
Yep.
But it's you're talking 600 horse, and you're talking 1,200-1,300 foot-pounds of torque. Like no slouch in the torque category.
I wouldn't be surprised if we're north of 1,400 foot-pounds on this. We're already at 12 something, right? So
yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy.
it's not going to be the 100 horsepower. It's going to be the fact that we can take that torque curve and that horsepower curve that's already there and just broaden it, right?
Widen it out.
If we can widen that torque curve out, that's where the efficiency, that's where maybe you're going to get another 1 or 2 miles per gallon on it. Maybe it's not going to regen as much, right? So like that's the stuff that's exciting. And I mean, you're talking price point, right? You threw L5P in there. Like I don't have the numbers in front of me, but like we're going to be, I mean, we've thrown some numbers out there, right? I think we're going to land somewhere $14 to $1,600 for an engine support pack, Easy Link, like plug and go,
full diagnostic, OBD, not ECM support,
data logging straight to the
not
tuner.
Swapping ECM. Nope. Well, that was also a thing.
7 minutes and 30-ish seconds is what I'm told that these things flashing.
Well, you think about it, like, you think about the black box, GDP Commander, whatever. Great tool for its time, right? It's gotten us out of a bind of not being able to support some vehicles.
Oh, yeah.
But, no data logging support.
Logging was from like 2001. Like, we could diagnose a switch, but like otherwise it's
bare minimum.
Could you log with it? Yes. Were you going to log with it? No. It was, hey, do you have an HP tuners cable that we can log with?
Well, that just adds to more expense. So now there's more of a complete package, to be delivered to the customer.
Yep.
So now, going back to the video that you did, which, gained a pretty decent amount of hate because you're a liar and you don't know what you're talking about.
Yep.
You work for the government?
Yes. So, I think people have been saying that since before we paid our EPA fine. I think they've been saying
about 4 or 5 years ago, we were accused of being funded by the EPA. And I'm still looking for my check. Like, fucking pay up.
I think they paid Corey. Sorry, Corey.
Yeah, no bad blood there. But I don't know. It just
It's awesome, man. We're like, I'm super excited. Like I said, it doesn't matter if it drops tomorrow or not. The video, we had a lot of fun filming it. J-Bone and Anthony and Anthony's alter ego filmed another video, so I think you guys will like that. At the end of the day, it was supposed to be a fun video. It's supposed to be a play on these guys on the internet selling. You're paying $1,500 for an export file, and you're going to go buy it from a different guy for another $1,500.
Buy the same file. Yep.
Yeah. So I mean. Hey, if the other guy's got better customer support, I'm not
that's
gonna
worth.
knock it.
Yeah, that's worth it.
Knock it.
Yeah.
But just realize that like there is some cool stuff coming. There is a lot of stolen stuff on the market. I mean, that's a whole different conversation.
I think that goes back to what you were talking about prior, where you the day that this goes live, within a day or two, there's going to be a lot of companies, either A, that you've never heard of before, or B, have never offered the support, now selling tunes for that platform, or they're going to say that they've been selling these tunes for so long and now it's revision, or now they can add more power, now it's the mod plus or whatever the case may be. In this industry right now, everybody's starting from ground zero,
and I think that hit on that customer support. And if I was looking to buy custom tuning from someone that first week or that second week, I'd be asking questions like, can you remove my speed limiter, right? Can you enable an exhaust brake, or maybe not enable one, but can you simulate, or can you make my exhaust brake work better?
Right.
If I was in another country, I would be asking if you could change the turbo vane position and stuff like that. Like, ask some questions where there's an actual calibrator.
Right. There's someone
in that facility,
making or controlling what's going on.
And that would be my advice to people, right? Can you get them on the phone? And, can they make the changes you want, whether you're going to, we've been working on this a long, long time, whether you're going to put that drop-in Stealth 64 on it, whether you're going to put the RDS on it, whether you're going to put twins on it, whatever, right? Can that tuner support you down the road?
No. What I'm excited about is I'd like to get you back on a month or two down the road, right? After you've gotten some seat time, right? More seat time in the truck than just stock.
Yep.
But I know what goes into some of the R&D stuff, right, working here, but I think it'd be cool to kind of paint a picture and kind of talk about the trials and tribulations of what's 3 to 6 months look like on a platform. How does that mature?
Yeah. How do you pack to 5 years of support in 2 weeks?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think the thing there too is it's like you're also not going into this blindly, right? Like you have, I had a guy a week ago, right? 2 weeks ago, talk to me, and Duramax tuner, you don't know anything about tuning Fords. And it's like, well, believe it or not, the early Fords, ECUs are the same, fuel system's the same. Like, you're not reinventing the wheel here, man. Like, we've been tuning for 20 years, you know?
I love that one. I mean, Ford's probably the easiest to tune, depending upon, what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
But I also, the Cummins one, it's like, dude, we'll go pull the Cummins tuner stuff out. Like, I don't even know if we can say that anymore on here, but I know we can't have a website.
We're not going to get sued.
But, I still got the Cummins tuner websites, or the Cummins tuner website, the Cummins tuner sweatshirt. Like that, you got to break that out once in a while.
I have that. I have mine preserved for a rainy day.
It's not what it was 15 years ago, where you can only be good at one thing and one RPO, and you're good at LB7, but you don't know how to tune an LBC. No. It's like there's like we can do a lot less cool stuff than we could years ago, right? So it's like we get really good at what we can do, and most of that stuff is tune stock trucks, and we also have to branch out and tune other stock trucks, right? So it's like, since I've worked here, we've always tuned all three. Just period.
Well, it's been 8 years. 8 years of tuning all three, which it's crazy to me. I'm looking at producer Justin here, and I remember 10 years ago sitting in a closed in a roundtable meeting, like, oh, we're never going to tune Fords. That's not in our wheelhouse. We have no interest. But the culture then was you tune one platform and you're really, really good at it. And if you went to XYZ that was known for tuning Cummins and you bought a Duramax tune from them, you're an idiot.
I'll say it till I'm blue in the face, dude. H&S was ahead of their time.
Well, Tim, thanks for taking some time. We'll definitely get you back on. Listeners, this has been Chris.
I'm Tim Mahoney.
Thanks for listening. They've been tuning them the last year and a half off.
Yeah, they forgot that when they had the Ford engineer sign the file. They forgot to remove the speed limiter.